All the characters in the story are over 18 years old. Characters. Norman is 18 years old. His hobbies are painting, walking in the park under a clear moon, and dreaming of meeting his man. Appearance. Red-dyed curly hair, pleasant face, athletic build. Height. 1 meter 80 centimeters. Alex is 19 years old. Hobbies choreography, cooking, and gymnastics. Appearance of fairly tall girl. Thanks to sports, keeps herself in shape without letting her sides blur. She has a rather sharp and predatory look, which often makes it unclear what exactly the girl is experiencing. She has medium-long ash-black hair. The eyes are gray with a purple tint. This day was no different from the typical boring weekdays. Norman was a freshman at a university in the United States. Renting a private house with the money he received from part-time work, the young man's life was quite successful. Not everyone could enroll in a foreign educational institution. A ray of sunlight pierced the curtain of the bedroom as if a solar spear pierced a dragon, opening first one eye, then the other. The red hair on his head covered part of the guy's face. Today was a day off. You could lie in bed all day, but you had to finish your notes. Throwing the blanket aside, standing with his feet on the warm floor, he threw a clean towel over his body, going to the bathroom. A refreshing shower is the best thing in the morning. Going into the shower, he turned on the faucet. Refreshing water poured over him like a waterfall crashing onto the rocks. Having lathered his head and body, he washed off yesterday's dirt. I had to sweat a lot at work yesterday, but I didn't have the strength to take a shower. After leaving the bathroom, I went down to the first floor. A letter for you. The morning postman slipped an envelope through the crack in the door from below. He looked at the mysterious envelope with an uncomprehending look, and Norman picked up the letter from the floor. From your parents? He said aloud. He opened the envelope, pulling out a piece of paper. Running through the text with emerald green eyes, I read the most interesting lines from there. Hello, son. I hope you're doing well. My father and I are worried about you. We are looking forward to when your training is over and you will come to us, at least for a week. We've been wanting to tell you for a long time, but you have a free sister now, Alex. She's enrolled in your city and is coming to you, so that you don't get bored alone. With love, Mom. Sister? What? The young man's eyes widened in surprise. Living alone for so long because he liked it here on you. Sister, I hope it won't interfere with his life. Well, it will be fun. This year has been eventful. Having won the culinary Olympiad for which she plowed for a whole year, Alex imagined how she could calmly study after finally taking a break from sports, but luck was not on the girl's side. The parents who were fixated on the success and awards of the girl abruptly remembered about the guy she had almost never heard of, namely her stepbrother. After all, Alex's father married Norman's mother a month ago. They didn't have time to introduce them. Mom, don't you care about his personal boundaries? Alex exclaimed indignantly. She valued her personal space. Come on, he will obviously be glad of the company. The woman really wanted to introduce her children. But I can provide for myself, the girl said in a low voice. She obviously knew that she had lost this argument. I don't want to hear it. Why spend money just like that? Pack up, we've already bought the next flight. Alex was not pleased to hear this because what her parents said hurt her self-esteem a lot. Before leaving, Norman's mom showed the girl a photo of her son so Alex would know what he looked like and tell her his name. She really wanted them to become friends because she married her father. Packing in a hurry and stress, 10 hours of flight, another 3.5 hours of bus ride, and now the girl was already in a place unknown to her at one of the many railway stations. People spoke in her native language, English. Alex knew him perfectly. So, you just need to find the address. Heading through the streets, examining every corner, every car, and every person. She was clearly different from all people because it's not often you meet a girl with one small backpack who was looking for something in a panic. While the pupils were running from side to side. Okay, I'll wait for her. Norman had dressed by then. A black t-shirt, gray shorts perfect for summer, and socks. I was drinking my morning coffee with 2 sandwiches. Wait, how does his sister know where he lives? And what's her name anyway? Damn, Mom. Was it difficult to write? Okay, I have an idea. After sorting out breakfast, Norman had an idea. There was a large poster in his closet, and the young man decided to write on it. I'm waiting for you, Alex. somehow getting him down the stairs because of the difficult visibility in front of him. He opened the front door. The sun instantly hit the guy in the face, so hard that he was forced to close his eyes. There was another private house opposite me, where his neighbor Frank lived. No one has lived on the sides yet. It's temporary. When he reached the end of the path, he stuck a stick in the ground with an inscription, dusted off his hands, and decided to stand for a while, get some fresh air. It's good that I took a shower. It's so stuffy. Norman's body started to heat up. He hoped that the temperature would not be. Realizing that it was necessary to act more decisively, the girl, using her knowledge of English, began to calmly ask people about the address. Fortunately, such activity has borne fruit. She was able to find the right street, after which, seeing the poster and the guy himself, Alex decided to check, shouted to Tom, "Norman." The bright light did not turn her gray eyes purple, which was even more visible, but from the heat and the fact that she was wearing the lightest thing she had. She was wearing a snow-white t-shirt and black leggings, and she was clearly getting hot, while the black hair was forced to catch a sunstroke as quickly as possible. It's you?" Norman turned his head towards the source of the sound. An attractive girl doing sports was rapidly approaching him. Beautiful purple eyes immediately attracted his attention. I did not think that his free sister would be so attractive. "Hello." The young man waved his hand. Leggings were, in a way, his weakness. The guy worked at a fitness club. Norman's gaze was often attracted to girls in leggings. Norman was just crazy about it. Admittedly, he almost snatched it off their guys several times. What am I thinking about? She's my sister, free, but still. Her bags are heavy. How did she carry them? The young man scratched his turnip. I'll help. The guy went to meet the girl to pick up her things. Thank you very much. Alex breathed with relief, handing the things to her stepbrother. She wanted to get away from the improving heat as soon as possible, drink a glass of cool water. Were there any problems? Norman asked, putting her bags on the floor. No, it's all right. The girl smiled a friendly smile. She still couldn't believe what was happening. It had all happened too fast. You probably want a drink. Let's go to the kitchen. The guy also wanted to get his throat wet. He recently took a shower, and his whole body is hot, as if he recently came out of the sauna. Of course, very much, she said. Stay here. I'll go to the kitchen, then I'll help you put your things in your room. There is another bedroom in my rented apartment. Can you tell me where my room is? I want to lie down for a while. You can bring me water right into the bedroom. Alex put her hand to her forehead, apparently overheated in the sun. No problem. Go up to the second floor, right down the hall, and to the right, Norman said. She went up the stairs. When Alex disappeared upstairs, the guy slapped himself a few times. He was terribly ashamed of his behavior. He had such thoughts for a reason. He met a girl in this city. As it turned out later, she used the guys as she wanted. After a while, Norman bored her, and she went on with her life. But the fact is the fact. He had been without female attention for a long time. You may ask, couldn't such a handsome guy find someone for himself? Could. But good girls are quickly dismantled, and those who remain are not able to attract attention to themselves. Taking out several bottles of water from the refrigerator, just in case, Norman took her things and carried them to the second floor. It wasn't a problem for the guy, considering his build. When he reached the room where his stepsister was staying, Norman knocked on the door several times out of politeness. Can I come in? He didn't hear anything in reply. The guy knocked again, the same story. Quietly opening the front door, he saw that the girl had fallen asleep. At one point, he liked this picture terribly cute. Tiptoeing into Alex's room, he put the bags by the bed and the water bottles on the bedside table. Norman was in no hurry to leave. His gaze was riveted on the most beautiful thing about his sister, her face. It's so clean, neat. Very thin nose, big lips, sensual. The face itself is oval in shape with slightly pointed cheekbones. The young man's gaze did not want to leave the pretty face of the girl, noting the beauty of Alex. However, 10% of his attention was still drawn a little lower. A white t-shirt with some kind of inscription. Leaning forward, he could watch her sleep forever. It is not known why. Is this his first time, a gift from above? Defenseless, fragile, and innocent. It would seem that take her, the girl is yours. Animal instincts receded into the background. Another one came to the forefront. Go to sleep, Norman whispered, leaving the bedroom, closing the door behind him. The young man could not understand what was happening to him. Why had she turned his head so much just by looking at her? Clenching his fists, Norman went into his room. He urgently needed a distraction. The synopsis that he needed to finish was coming in handy. Sitting down at a computer table, pressing the turn-on button on the computer, she is a stepsister, but a sister. That's enough. Norman slapped himself again. The young man devoted himself to working on the text. Looking for information on the internet, the topic of his work was client-oriented management. Clicking on the next site, an advertisement appeared on the right, as usual. Is there really no escape from this? Norman snorted with displeasure. You need to put a special block. The time count was lost instantly. The work was coming to an end. Norman's tired eyes looked at the clock. It was 4:30 in the evening. Wow, how's his sister doing? The guy intended to get up from his chair to find out. Norman, have you been sitting at the computer all day? Rubbing her sleepy eyes, Alex entered her brother's room. Yes, I had to finish my work, the young man replied, looking away in embarrassment. Come downstairs. I made dinner. Alex smiled affectionately. What kind of animal am I? He muttered through his teeth, covering his face with his hands. He wanted to disappear, to sink through the ground. Blushing with shame, the young man leaned back in his chair, throwing his head back, closing his eyes. The only thing that illuminated the room was the light from the working monitor. Drowsiness was taking hold of him, but my stomach made it clear that I wanted to eat. I had to get up from my desk chair, go down the stairs directly to the kitchen. Alex was fond of cooking. I have always loved to cook, to please my loved ones on holidays. And now she wanted to please her free brother. For dinner, the girl cooked 2 large okonomiyaki pancakes, celery salad, and continental sauce for pancakes. The smell hit the red-haired guy's nostrils, forcing his salivary glands to work. Sit down, everything is ready. Alex set the table. Norman sat down at the table, before pulling out a chair for his sister, so that she could sit down herself. A gentleman. Thank you. The girl accepted his courtship. You and I didn't have a normal conversation. I think it's about time. Tell me, how do you live here? You're right. I'm interested in learning about you too. How? I'm studying to be a lawyer. I work part-time at a fitness club so as not to depend on my parents. The young man managed to get really hungry. Picking up the appliances, he began to eat. He cut off a piece of Japanese dish, soaked it in sauce, and put it in his mouth. He realized that Alex was an amazing cook, the perfect girl, very tasty. Have you been studying this for a long time? I've loved doing this since I was born. A future lawyer, so you can be counted on in the future. Do you work at a fitness club? With your external data, that's the only place to work. The girl did not lag behind her brother. She ate at the same speed. And since childhood, I have dreamed of being a cook. I wanted to enroll in my city, but I had to enroll in yours. The future cook. Such people are also needed. Everyone likes to eat delicious food. Norman grinned. Alex, do you have someone? Norman was clinging to the last thread. After all, if she has a young man, it will be an excellent pivot in order to stop perceiving her stepsister as a potential girlfriend. In the back of his mind, he was screaming, please say yes. A lump stuck in my throat, waiting for her answer. For me? No, there's no one, Alex replied calmly. The last bridge collapsed. All hopes are with him. His hands are untied. Sooner or later, he will not be able to restrain his animal instincts. He will not care about the consequences, because these will be completely different problems. Slowly chewing the food in his mouth, the young man swallowed it with a characteristic sound. And yours? Is there a lady of the heart? The girl even put the kitchen appliances aside. Her interest was so strong. No one either, at the moment. There was one girl who used me as... He was embarrassed to talk about this in front of his sister. A bed partner? Alex asked in the same calm tone. Norman nodded, staring at her in surprise. Did she say that so easily? Why are you looking at me like that? We're not 5 years old, Alex grinned. It's a little awkward to talk about this with my sister, because they didn't know each other at all. The young man didn't understand how he felt about her. Why did Mom hide it? Don't worry, Norman. You can talk to me about everything in the world, she said in a gentle voice. The dinner on her plate disappeared, washed down with a bottle of water, and the sister put some salad on her plate. You have to keep yourself in shape. I'll have to ask my parents why they hid it. The young man frowned thoughtfully. It seems strange to me too. However, I'm glad that I met you in person. I'm sure we have a lot in common. Alex sorted out her dinner. After removing her plate from the table, the girl decided to wait for her brother to finish eating. Listen, I do sports in my free time. Will you give me a few lessons? I'm sure you have experience. Norman looked away awkwardly. He often coached young girls, and the fact that he would have to do the same with his sister confused the guy. The young man finished his portion. You can try. Thank you very much. A joyful Alex hugged her brother, taking the empty plate from him. The girl began to wash the dishes. Can I help you? No. Sit down, I'll do it myself. You've been working on your notes almost all day. You need to rest. At first, Norman was not very happy about the news that a little familiar person was being moved into him. Now his opinion has changed radically upside down. A caring girl. Now you won't have to clean alone, do other things around the house. Besides, Alex cooks deliciously. You no longer have to eat fast food. Okay, I think it's time for me to go to bed. I have a school day tomorrow. Norman did not want to sleep at all. He lied so as not to be alone with his sister. It was getting harder and harder for him to control himself. Saying goodnight to Alex, he immediately ran to his room. Norman did not forget to brush his teeth before going to bed. He had never gone to bed so early, so his body did not want to go into sleep mode. He could hear Alex's footsteps outside the door, the girl moving on tiptoe so as not to wake, as she thought her sleeping brother. An hour later, everything was quiet. His sister took a shower before going to bed. Norman could get out of bed to go to the window. Suddenly, he heard soft knocks on the door behind him. Norman jumped in surprise. The door opened with a characteristic creak, and his sister's head poked into his brother's room. But, Norman, are you awake? What is it? She asked softly. No, the guy muttered without turning to face the girl. He was standing in front of the window, behind which it had long been dark. In summer, the sun goes below the horizon later, but the night is nowhere darker. In the reflection, Alex noticed that Norman was nervously scanning the night city. Has something happened? A hunch pierced the girl. Not waiting for an answer, she decided to play a little joke on her brother. Hug him from behind. Do you think I'm a scary witch who will take your soul at night? Alex laughed at her own joke. Norman was still silent. Alex could tell now that he was even more confused. The girl squeezed between him and the window, stood on tiptoe, and when she saw his look, she took his hand and said, If something bothers you, you can tell me everything, his sister sang in a gentle voice. The young man stopped being embarrassed. His second personality began to awaken in him, which he tried to hide all this time because it was she who was dominant during his relationship with the mysterious nymphomaniac. Norman hit a confident alpha. He had Alex pinned to the wall. Do you want to explain what it was? The stepbrother loomed over the girl. No, he did not use brute force in any case. But under the weight of his gaze, Alex couldn't move. Well, she drawled, frantically trying to turn everything back into a joke and blushing furiously. Well, she wouldn't tell him directly. Moreover, in her opinion, the hints were enough for Norman to figure it out for himself. Well, what? Norman asked, and then, to his sister's great joy, it dawned on him. He leaned down and looked at the girl searchingly. Did I understand correctly? Yes. The cornered girl closed her eyes. Then say it out loud. I immediately noticed how you were looking at me. From the moment I saw your picture, I had a crazy desire to meet you, to see you in person. I don't know if you noticed or not, but I also glanced at you, especially when you were sitting at the computer for several hours. Then you're the same, the guy chuckled. All the gates opened in front of him. He could do whatever he wanted. The feeling of shame faded into the background. He didn't care about the consequences. These are the consequences of living in the 21st century. Both thought that the second one would say that this was a joke, a hoax, or he had changed his mind. Both hoped for a different outcome. This will be our little secret. After that, they made love. I'm sure you liked it. I'm sorry, Alex. I can't take it anymore. The tired young man plopped down on the bed next to his sister. Crazy night, Norman said sleepily. As you said, it will be our secret. Alex supported her brother's idea. The girl got out of bed, pacing in front of her brother. The girl left the room, closing the door behind her. Norman couldn't believe that all this had actually happened. Turning over on his other side, The young man covered himself with a blanket from head to toe. An exciting dream awaited him.